Hello and welcome back. Appreciate you stopping by. Today, I'm just going to kind of briefly talk about some of the interesting things that Nintendo have been doing lately, which I think kind of shows an interesting trend for what could be in the future. Today, I'm going to be primarily talking about Nintendo's alarm clock Alarmo, Pokemon Sleep, as well as Nintendo's music application. So let's go ahead and just start off with the Alarmo alarm clock. I do live in Japan, so I live in the Japanese time zone. So something that kind of interesting happened with me was I woke up and this news had dropped. Most of the time when Nintendo drops new things, I've noticed that they kind of have this sweet spot. This sweet spot where it's pretty late in the afternoon or nighttime for us, and it's kind of early morning for North America. And then I guess it's probably middle of the day for Europe. That's probably why they do that, so that the three major regions sort of all get this news at the same time. However, the Alarmo alarm clock thing, I woke up and that had blown up, which was odd because usually when I wake up, I don't really check Nintendo stuff because most of their Twitter drops and stuff like that is usually at night, at least out here. And so it was really interesting to wake up to that news. And of course, it was like, it's only available to Nintendo Switch online subscribers and this and that and the other. And I was like watching it and I was like, that's kind of cool. And I waited about a day and I thought about it and I was like, did I wait a day? I don't think I waited a day. I waited a little while and I was like, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and bite the bullet and buy one. Screw it. Now the only problem is that I have a I have a Nintendo Switch online account for North America, but not for Japan. So my paid subscription, I have an account for Japan, but that's not the one that I'm subscribed to Nintendo Online through. That's my North American account. And so when I logged in like usual and I signed in and I've got a Japanese debit card, so no problem, I can make purchases online, which by the way, that is extremely difficult out here. Buying things online, you really take that you you take that for granted when you live in North America at least. I'm not sure about other countries, but in Japan it is very difficult. It it is very difficult sometimes to buy things online. Uh, even when I'm using my Japanese debit card, sometimes it's difficult. Anyway, um, so I log in, all that stuff, and I realize, oh, this account is a North American account. You can't buy this because I logged into my Japanese account, and it's like you're not a Nintendo Switch online subscriber. It's like, oh no, I can't. And I'm not gonna just probably sign up for a month to get this thing. So I was like, what am I gonna do? Well, quick thinking. I was like, well, my wife actually has a Nintendo Switch online account. I'm just going to log into hers. I'll use my debit card to buy it, and we'll just have it shipped to our house. So I ended up doing that and got it in and started using it. Of course, I immediately set it to the Pikmin watch face and alarms. 'Cause that's one of the major reasons. If they did not have Pikmin at launch, I probably would not have bought it. I would have waited for more watch faces to come out. But I set it up, and I've honestly been using it every day since. It's actually pretty nice. There's a couple of the sounds that are a little scary to wake up to. There's one where it's like the night mode. If you've played Pikmin 4, you know what this sounds like. It's that scary night mode music when there's a monster coming, and, you know, that's not really the best thing to wake up to. So, you know, I have switched the face since then. It was Pikmin for the longest time, but I recently actually updated it about a week ago. And I don't know if anybody knows this. I heard nothing about this online. Nobody has been talking about this, but the Mario Kart face and alarms is available now. So if you've got an Alarmo and you've been waiting for drops of more alarms, yeah, the Mario Kart one is live right now. I'm waiting for the Animal Crossing one. That's probably going to be my primary watch face when that comes out. That's the big one I'm looking forward to because that's going to be calm and it's going to be island vibes and that's probably going to come out in the summertime. I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be great. But as far as my review, I guess I can give you a review for Alarmo because I've been using it every day since. I think it actually works great. It really, really works well. Um, there are some features on it for those of you that don't own an Alarmo. If you are interested in getting one, I would recommend turning off the sleepy sounds mode. So they have this thing where you can set your bedtime and say, this is the time I want to go to bed every single night. Well, when you have sleepy sounds turned on at your bedtime, it's sort of like a reverse alarm, right? In the morning, your alarm goes off to wake you up and to get you started for the day. The sleepy sounds kind of do the inverse of that, where it calms you down. It's letting you know it's time for bed. And it's sort of a reminder because if you're in bed in your room on your phone, scrolling through, TikTok or Instagram, or you're, playing your Switch or Game Boy in the bed, sometimes, oh wow, I look over and it's already 11 o'clock. My bedtime was supposed to be at 10:30 or 10 o'clock. I missed it. The sleepy sounds sort of remind you when to go to bed. I'm naturally very tired at the end of every single day. I really don't need a reminder. And so usually I'll just be laying down in bed already trying to go to sleep, and then the sleepy sounds turn on. And I'm like, dude, I don't need that right now. It's at first I was like, this is nice. This is kind of relaxing. But every single day of the same song is just kind of like, all right, I'm after like 2 weeks of that, I was like, all right, this isn't cute anymore. I'm done with this. Because unlike the alarm, what's cool about the alarm is that I set it to Pikmin, and it's just every day going to be a different Pikmin sound to wake me up. Every day it's going to cycle through that. So you don't hear the same thing over and over and over and over again. It does not cycle through the sleepy sounds. Each theme gets one sleepy sound as far as I've seen. So like Mario's got its own, Zelda's got its own, like, Splatoon's got its own. There are no different sleepy sounds, unfortunately. But overall, I would say that the alarm clock is Alarmo is actually surprisingly really good. I really enjoy it. Um, I would say even if you're just like a moderate Nintendo fan, or even if you're just a fan of one or two of the franchises, it's not too bad. A lot of people I've heard kind of are complaining about the price. It's $100. It's $100 for an alarm clock. What is that about? Um, and it looks kind of goofy. It looks like it's for a kid. I'm a I'm a 35 going on 36-year-old man, and I I have an alarmo next to my bed. Um, but you know what? I learned a long time ago to love what you love. Don't listen to other people. If you want to use an alarm clock that looks like it's for children, do it. I have never been ashamed of enjoying the things that I enjoy, and I have gotten crap from people for it. And it's, funny enough, when I was a kid, I got crap for some of the Nintendo games I played or some of the Pokemon games I played. And then 20 years go by, I'm a full-grown adult, I'm in a bar, and I run into, those people from school or whatever, and you get to talk, and they notice you've got, like, a Nintendo bracelet or a Nintendo whatever on your person, a shirt or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, man, that's pretty cool, man." It's like, "Well, it wasn't cool in grade school. You gave me a hard time about it." So it's like, you know what, man? Just those people are gonna come and go. Love what you love. Don't stop loving it. Like, just be yourself. Like, it's totally worth it. Anyway, enough of the preaching about that. The alarm clock is pretty solid. It's pretty good. If you're interested in it or if you want one, I think it's worth the price. If you're so on it, you could probably skip it. There's really not that much there. If you're looking for a lot of crazy bells and whistles and stuff like that, but if you're just a lover of Nintendo, a lover of the IP, um, you want something kind of quirky and fun, this is a good go-to. Now, on the other side of that is Pokemon Sleep's Pokemon Go. It's called Pokemon Go Plus Plus. I can never remember this. I had trouble in an earlier podcast remembering the name to this thing because you've got the Pokemon Go Plus, which is the wristband, which I had until it was stolen by somebody that I'm sure thought Pokemon was lame but stole it anyway. Anyway, I'm getting beyond. Ignore that. Moving on. I'm still traumatized. Anyway, The Pokemon Go Plus Plus is that round hockey puck thing that you put on your pillow that measures your sleep and your movement while you're sleeping. And then when you wake up, you pair it to the Pokemon Sleep app, and you can catch Pokemon and do a bunch of stuff. It is, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a long time since I've played this. I mentioned this earlier as well. I only got enough time really to play one Pokemon app at a time. I was all in on Pokemon Go, and then I was all in on Pokemon Sleep, and now I'm all in on Pokemon TCG. So right now, TCG is all that gives me my Pokemon fix. I'll play some Pokemon Emerald on my Game Boy Advance or something like that. But as far as applications go, I just can't log into like 2 or 3 Pokemon apps at a time. I really can just do one at a time. And right now, TCG is so much fun. So Pokemon Sleep has fallen off the radar. But while I was playing it, it was really cool. Um, my review of Pokemon Sleep and that kind of lifestyle application that Nintendo and Game Freak had sort of collaborated on, uh, I thought it was really, really cool. The problem is though, it's kind of for the unemployed in a way. Um, the reason why I say it's for the unemployed is because, you know, when it's a work day, I wake up and I hit the snooze button and I literally stay in bed as long as I possibly can. When I was unemployed, and I was playing Pokemon Sleep, it was great. I'd casually wake up, I'd have my coffee, I'd play my little Pokemon Sleep, I'd go through my little routine, and then I'd start the day at like 11 o'clock. And it's like, yeah, that's not most people. Most people got to get up and go. They got to get up and go out the door. And so, yeah, Pokemon Sleep is one of those things where it's a great idea, but for somebody that works, especially works a lot of hours, like ironically in Japan, people in Japan work insane hours out here. When are they having time to play Pokemon Sleep? Like, is this just like for younger housewives or something? I don't know who this is for. Because yeah, when you're getting up and going, the last thing you want to do is like have to click on this and you have to click on this. And there's loading screens galore. Just everything is a loading screen. You want to do this, it's a loading screen. You want to do that, it's a loading screen. So it takes a while. It's really fun and the art is adorable and it's very addictive, but I noticed that when I started working, I really stopped playing the game. It did not work well with a full-time work schedule, maybe on the weekends you can kinda play it, but the app sort of relies on you habitually using it, right? Because every night that you sleep, you get more points and you meet more Pokemon and you get more sleep stats, and that really helps build your sort of your Pokemon Sleep career. Um, so overall, really fun. I enjoyed it while I was unemployed, but working full time and being an adult, that's a lot harder. And then also for kids, it's like, do kids have this much tech to play this game? Like they're gonna wake up and get on their phones. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not living in America, so I don't see what younger kids in America are doing. But in Japan, young kids don't have cell phones. So, I'm curious as to who this was for. How big of a market did they want to get, and did they capture it? I'm really honestly curious. I don't know. And then third and finally, one of the things I wanted to talk about was Nintendo's music app. I remember everybody was really upset that Nintendo was, copyright striking and taking down a lot of these Nintendo music channels. Nintendo seems to want to do that quite a bit. They definitely don't they don't let a lot excuse me, they don't let a lot of things slide. That's for sure. I opened the app initially when it first came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool," and I was like really excited about it. And then I started scrolling through and looking, and I was like, "There's really not much here yet." I'm surprised that there wasn't just a massive dump of like half of their music library. Like, there's just a lot of stuff that you just like could not get at launch. Like, I might be wrong, but I don't think I think the only N64 game that had music for it was Ocarina of Time. There was no like Mario 64 or Mario Kart 64 or Star Fox or like Super Smash Brothers. Like there was just a lot of stuff that was just like not there. And so I was like, okay, maybe this will be one of those apps that I'll come to later and it'll be more, you know, full-fledged. It'll be a more full experience. And sure enough, I turned on notifications for the app to say, "Hey, let me know when new stuff happens." And to their credit, I get notifications like once or twice a week that's like, "Hey, we just put this on there." And it's like, "Cool. That's one album. Like keep moving. Keep giving us more." Um, I feel like this is a slow investment from Nintendo that, in 2, 3, 4 years time, this will be a massive pillar uh, of their uh, of their subscription service where it's like you have this huge library, like everything is here. And even like at launch, they'll be releasing new games. So like on launch day when they launch the new Mario, the new soundtrack also comes to, you know, the music application. What is it actually called? Hold on, I'm so sorry. What do they actually call this application? I'm looking on my phone right here. Oh, Nintendo Music. It's just called Nintendo Music. Um, Overall, great idea. Excited to see the future. I do hope that they kind of open it up a little bit. Um, I like sometimes playing TV on like my Apple, or I like playing music on my Apple TV sometimes. So it'd be nice if they could put their Nintendo Music application in a lot more places than just on the phone. But I know that that's kind of nitpicking, and that's kind of a later in life kind of thing that they'll probably do. But this sort of now starts to transition into the main topic of what I wanted this video to be about, which is the Nintendo infusing their intellectual property into your lifestyle, the Nintendo lifestyle kind of thing that they're doing. Overall, I think it's a great idea for the brand. I love that they're trying to do that, where they're trying to, kind of spice up the normal mundane things in your life with fun Nintendo characters. I know a lot of people thought that the alarm clock was a creepy idea because, Nintendo's going to like watch me sleep and then Mario's going to like wake me up, and it's, they're kind of getting along, or they're infusing themselves into your biological process of needing to sleep, needing to eat. Like these are things that corporations really should not be attached to. Um, but overall, once again, it's like I, I think it's kind of fun. I like the idea. I mean, Nintendo's kind of like a Disney, where it's like a magical company that likes to make things exciting and fun and colorful. And it's like, why would you not want to transform the boring aspects of your life into something exciting and fun? Instead of just being a boring alarm clock that you associate with bad. I think most people do that. You see an alarm clock. I mean, it's you could argue that the main villain in the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray is the alarm clock. The villain of Groundhog Day is the alarm clock. Every morning, that alarm clock reminds him that he is stuck in February 2nd on Groundhog Day. And so people sort of, obviously the movie did not start this idea, but alarm clock is sort of like, a bad thing. It's you have to wake up, you have to go to work, you have responsibilities. There's all these heavy things on there. And Nintendo, it's kind of an interesting idea for Nintendo to say, hey, you know what? The alarm clock is fun. Be excited about the day. Be happy about the day. Here's Mario jumping up and down, or here's the Pikmin, getting into some trouble. Like, let's just try to put a spin on something negative and make it positive. And I think that's a great idea. My biggest complaint about Nintendo's lifestyle approach is the way they want to go about doing that. So Nintendo always has to do it Nintendo's way. They can't just do it, the way that we would all presume they would do. They're going to have to do it their own specific way. Here's my example of that. We have really been wanting Nintendo music legally for a long time. I think even Kit and Krista have said that that was one of the things that they mentioned when they used to work at Nintendo was they were like, hey, we should do like documentaries about the making of these games, or we should do things with like, sell music CDs or albums of these classic Nintendo games. And the response was sort of like, nobody really wants that. And they were kind of shocked. And I think now they're really starting to come around to those ideas. But the main thing that bothers me about things like the Nintendo Music is that everyone's like, why don't you just put it on Spotify? Or why don't you just put it on, like, YouTube, like, or, on iTunes? Like, put it on an already existing platform that I use, that then I can go now listen to your material without having to download another application, have another subscription service. I then have to, if I want to hear your song, I have to leave Spotify, which I'm already currently using, and then open your app. And then in that app is only exclusively Nintendo stuff. That to me, it shows me that they're trying to be forward thinking. They're trying to move forward, but they're not really there yet. They can't just admit, hey, why don't we use something that's already existing and put a Nintendo spin on it? Something that we know people are using. I mean, it's not surprising that Spotify is huge, right? Like they must know this. They must know that Spotify is huge. They must know that iTunes is huge. Um, they think they're going to compete with Spotify, or iTunes. There's no way. Like, even as a diehard Nintendo fan myself, you know, it's gonna be. I'm just gonna, if I'm on YouTube and I'm watching or listening to stuff and I want to hear a Nintendo song, I'm just gonna type it into YouTube. I'm not gonna leave the app and then go to the Nintendo Music app. That doesn't make any sense. So I kind of wish that they would kind of do those sorts of things. Also, another idea that I had that I was surprised they haven't done yet was, um, a long time ago, in, like, I don't know, was it like 2013 or 2014? Whenever Super Mario Run came out, they partnered exclusively with Apple and put the game, on iPhones. And they seemed to have a really good relationship and things were going really well there. How come how come Nintendo doesn't make watch faces uh for Apple Watch, or for, the Galaxy Watch, or whatever? Why aren't they just saying, "Hey, we're going to make watch faces that maybe you could even buy," or if here's the big thing, you're a Nintendo online Switch online subscriber, you can download or you can scan a QR code on your phone and you can download this watch face to your Apple Watch. Like, that would be amazing. That would be really cool because I already wear a smartwatch. But Nintendo's idea to that would be like, well, we're gonna make a smartwatch. We're gonna make you buy the Nintendo smartwatch so that then you can use the watch face. And it's like, no, no, no. I want a regular watch that I can have normal watch faces. But if I'm in a fun mood, I can switch it to the Mario face, or I can switch it to the Pikmin face or the Animal Crossing face. It's like, I don't want to have to completely change everything I'm doing just to enjoy Nintendo content. I wish I could just sort of, you know, have that in addition to what I'm already doing. I don't know. I'm assuming it's because Nintendo is a hardware and software company. If they were only making software, we probably obviously would see a lot more of that. But I'm sure that their hardware department is like, look, we put out a console every once in a while. I mean, if you think about it, the hardware department, they used to have to do handheld consoles and home consoles. And now they got, just one. It's just the Switch. So you have this huge department that used to make two different pieces of hardware that are now making one. And I think that's when you get the alarm clock because they're like, dude, we got to do something. We're working here. And I mean, it takes us a long time to put out a console. So, we can't just have this many people working on this one thing that's going to come out every 7 to 8 years. Let's make an alarm clock, or let's make something. And I think that's great. But why not say, hey, if you like the Alarmo alarms, it's also available on iPhone. So you could try it on iPhone. See, that's the thing. You got to get people with this gateway, right? It's like, oh, that Alarmo thing is kind of weird. Oh, well, actually, that exact same program and those faces and those alarms are also available on your iPhone. You don't get the motion sensor and the light up blinking thing on the top, or you don't get any of those bells and whistles, but you still get the core, the essence of the experience, so that people could go, oh, I'll download them, I'll give them a try. They download them, they try it, and they go, "You know what? I think I wanna buy the alarm clock now. I've been using it on the Apple Watch, and it's really cool." You gotta give people a little bit of free stuff to get them to buy the big things, and it's like Nintendo just doesn't wanna do that. They're like, "Nope." They'll buy the clock. And I mean, they're not wrong, but I don't think that they would reach I don't think they reach as many people as if they gave out a couple little freebies like that. I don't know. I hope one day they will eventually do that. We'll have to see. But I'm not going to hold my breath, unfortunately. I think that they're gonna stay pretty loyal to the Nintendo Music application. I think the Alarmo is going to be a one and done kind of deal. I think we'll probably get 3 or 4 more watch faces over the course of 2025, and then that will probably be it. If I were a betting man, that's probably gonna be it. In addition to that kinda stuff, like, I just wish that they would release, like I mean, even just on the Nintendo website, just release more kind of fun, I don't know, like, phone wallpapers or screensavers or just I don't know, it is odd. They make such big movements to make a whole alarm clock or a whole music application, but even just the small little simple things, they don't seem to I don't know, they don't seem to do. As far as the lifestyle thing goes too, now that they are expanding with more Nintendo stores, uh, hopefully that means that also their products will start to kind of more of those products will come out, like more things similar to the Alarmo, like kind of quirky little, you know, odd little ideas. Uh, and just to briefly touch on the Nintendo Store thing, I know there's one that's going to be opening in San Francisco. We've already got that one in New York. Uh, there is one. The first one was in Tokyo. They opened Osaka, and then now Kyoto is open. When when I first moved here, I could tell that Nintendo was really testing the waters because they were doing a lot of pop-up Nintendo stores here in Japan. And one of them was actually at Hakata Station in Fukuoka City, which at the time I was living. And I went there probably 2 or 3 times. I don't I don't remember. I went there like 2 or 3 times. It's really, really cool. But I could really kinda tell by the vibe of the staff working there and the way that they were sort of, you know, uh, not constructing, the way they were, organized is that they were really kind of polling to see, okay, how well does Nintendo products do here? How well does it do there? How well does it do here? And it's like, I guarantee you that they're polling to say, okay, after Kyoto, because we have to open a Kyoto store because that's where the headquarters of Nintendo is, and that's also now where the museum is. So it's odd to not have a Nintendo store here because to get into the museum gift shop, you have to have a ticket to go in, and that's hard to come by. You have to go into a lottery now. It's like a 3-month waiting process. So if you're going to Japan and you want to go to the museum, get those tickets to the museum before you buy your plane tickets, please, because it is a thing. It probably won't be that bad after I'd say probably 2025, 2026. I don't know. But as of right now in 2025 or 2026, please double check and make sure before you fly all the way out to Japan and think you can just walk in the door. Even if you're just like, I just want to go to the gift shop. I just want to get that N64 controller. It's like, nope. You gotta be allowed in there. So it makes sense that they would open the Kyoto store. 100%. I'm really hoping they open one in Fukuoka. They really should because that's kind of the most logical place to put it after Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo, because there's really nothing down south. Like, they're not going to put it in Hiroshima. That's probably too small of an environment. Hakata is really sort of the beating heart of Kyushu, so it would make sense for them to put it there. They could, I guess, technically put it in Hokkaido. However, we have a ton of international tourists in Fukuoka. Uh, I used to work actually at immigration at the airport there, and so yeah, there's a lot of tourism in Fukuoka. So I think putting a store there would really, really be good because I know a lot of people specifically will travel to Osaka or Tokyo just because they really wanna go to the Nintendo store and they want a lot of that gaming merchandise that just frankly is not available in Fukuoka. There's no Capcom store. There is a Pokemon Center, but I've been to about 5 Pokemon centers in Japan here now. The Fukuoka City one is the worst. It is the worst Pokemon Center. It is tiny, it is small, and it is jam-packed with people. I remember talking to a couple people that worked there, and I just was like, "You guys need to, like, expand. You need, like, a building twice the size of this." Like, this is the ones in Tokyo are much more roomy and a little bit bigger, and they got more stuff, and it's like, "This is just tiny." This is I mean, this is smaller than, like, a '90s Disney store. It's like half the size of that. So I don't know. Hopefully they open one in Fukuoka. That would be fantastic. And then we could see more of these, more of these sort of lifestyle things that they're trying to sell. But anyway, that'll probably about do it for me for today. I appreciate you listening to a podcast of a guy sitting I'm sitting in like a library thing here because I'm at work right now. I had some free time on my lunch to record this, but I'm a 35-year-old man sitting in a library thing on my lunch break talking about an alarm clock. Thank you very much. You have a nice day.